Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to City Talk with Slim. And of course, I'm Slim Overton, and I'm here. And this is our first show on City Talk. And of course, we like a sub show of the Slim Nation one on one experience. And I just wanted to have something to talk about the cities throughout Hampton Roads. Of course, today we're featuring Portsmouth, the home of my birth, and you're going to see a lot of shows about Portsmouth, because I can do that. That's me. But we're going to focus on other cities in Hampton Roads and beyond. But today we have a special guest, and he's no stranger to the Slim Nation and Portsmouth Coffee Talk and all the things that we do here is Mayor Shannon Glover. And excuse me, I'm no disrespect if I go back and forth, and I might call him Shannon because when we talk, that's the way we address each other. That's the way friends do. So I'll try to stick to the mayor, but if I slip, you know, just blame it on friendship there. But
It's,
good morning, Mayor. Thanks for joining us. And you're back in town. You're always on the go. And let me say this before we get started. Mayor is also, for you that don't know, he's president of Commonwealth Employee Benefit Solutions. So, he's juggling two things here, and the mayorship, they say elected officials in Portsmouth, that's not a full time job, but the mayorship, being the mayor of the city of Portsmouth or any of the cities in Hampton Roads, it's pretty much almost like a full-time job. So he has two full-time jobs. So, but anyway, welcome, Mayor. Thanks a lot. We appreciate you being here on the inaugural show of City Talk with Slim. Thanks a lot.
well, Slim, hey, thank you. And because we are friends, if it's okay, I'm going to refer to you as Slim because, that's a special name to me. I told you that was my father's nickname. So,
Oh, okay.
so,
Yeah. So
so,
let
so
it
at
flow.
the,
Let it flow, brother.
yeah, at the end of the day, that's what it is. But grateful to be here with you, man, and sharing, the progress of Portsmouth and good news. But thank you for having me.
Yeah. And before we get started, I want to put this picture up. Of the employees. And of course, this is not all the employees, but this, you always have your employee days. And the reason I wanted to put that up because, all we talked about before we came on air, I served on plenty of boards for over 30 years of different boards and commissions and some pretty prominent boards like the Planning Commission, EDA, Economic Development Authority. And I always tried to recognize the employees because we got appointed by city council, but they made us look good. They did all the work behind the scenes. And when we got up there and we were expressing, we were voting on certain issues, we got that information for them. So I always want to salute the employees in the city of Portsmouth. Of course, that's not half of the people. Most of them were working probably that day that photo was taken. But I always wanted to start with this, thanking our employees, present and retired, for all they have given to the city of Portsmouth. If it wasn't for them, you know, Portsmouth wouldn't be what it is today, and a lot of dedicated employees. So I just wanted to start the show with that, making sure people, well, I recognize, and the Slim Talk with, City Talk with Slim recognizes our employees. I'm sure you
Thank you,
feel the
man.
same
Thank
way.
you for that.
Okay. Now, before we get into anything, I want to start with because I am a senior. I want to start with senior housing in the city of Portsmouth. And we talked the other day, and I told you about some experiences I had with people that I've been with here in the city of Portsmouth for a long time. When they got to the point they wanted to downsize, and but they wanted to stay in Portsmouth, but they couldn't find any uh, suitable senior housing, and they ended up going to Suffolk, especially during the time when Suffolk was really building these senior homes. Regrettably, they didn't want to go, but they had no choice. But I think we're sort of getting there. Talk about that, yeah, and in combination with affordable housing as well. So senior housing in the city of Portsmouth. Where are we?
So the good news is that we're moving in the right direction. We've just completed a 106 unit senior housing complex over in the area of Deep Creek Boulevard, right off of Portsmouth Boulevard, and it's an amazing place. It's first class, top of the line, with a workout room with a number of amenities that really serve the seniors well. And as you know, when we opened that facility, it was already full. And so we're working with our partners at Portsmouth Redevelopment and Housing to build another project out in the Churchland area. And that will be 86 units of senior housing, 65 and over. It will be income based in terms of those who will live there. And so we recognize that our population is getting older and we have to have different alternatives of housing for our seniors. Some of them can't maintain their homes like they used to. So they're looking for opportunities to move into quality, affordable housing, and we're creating that. We're not where we want to be, but we're moving as fast as we can. Opening the facility on Deep Creek was a start. Uh, was a start. And so we're moving very intentionally in that way. The other thing is in affordable housing, as you probably witnessed our last council meeting, we approved another housing apartment complex off of Victory Boulevard, which will be named Blunt Place. And Blunt Place will be named, of course, after our leader in the city, Milton Blunt, who served the city well. That will be over 50 new apartments, 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms. In addition, Baines Point, which is on High Street, Elman High, we will be doing the ribbon cutting for that in the next couple of months. So we're excited about the housing stock that's coming online, but make no mistake, we still need more new affordable housing for our working folks and those individuals that may not make a large income that some others may make.
Yeah, because as we talk about the population aging, we want to keep them there because we want to keep our population at a point or keep it growing. We don't want to see a decline, like we saw over the last few years, a slight decline in our population. And of course, we want to make sure we have something. We'll get into that as we talk about as we have this conversation. We want to make sure we have something for our young folks, yeah, as they go away to school, for them to come back here and
No,
raise their families.
I think that's a very valid point. And the other thing I wanted to add to what we're doing in the affordable housing space, one of the things I've been looking into is putting in place a housing trust. And in doing that, we, the city, would set aside dollars specifically to assist young people and those who are working in public service, perhaps on their down payment, helping them to get into the home and be able to sustain living there. One of the things that we see in the market today, a lot of young people and working class folks can't afford the down payment. So we're looking into creative ways as a city that we can support that type of effort. It's being done across the country, and I think Portsmouth is the right place to get something like this done.
Yes, indeed, it is. We also, as we talk about, we've also talked about over the years when we're looking for people to elect in office, we want people with creativity. We want people that know how to think out of the box. We want them to be innovative. And that's a good segue to the innovation district called the Linc, and that we've been talking about a lot lately. So bring us up to date on that because it's been a talk for a while, and the council members made several trips to different cities that are similar to Portsmouth, just try to get an idea of how that system would work here. So give us an update on how that's going because, and I will say, all the times back in the 90s when I was on the planning commission, it was talk similar to that, trying to make that connection from downtown to mid city. And at one time, that gap in between, it was a lot of businesses, you know, car dealerships and things like that. But since that is all going away, so it's a real big gap now. So bring us up to date on that.
So if I could link, the link stands for, we were very intentional and deliberate in rounding out our innovation district. We wanted to have a destination. And so when we created that area, we decided that we needed a name for it that tied it to the history of the city. And what came about as a result of that was many of our African American businesses were located in that new district, the Linc district. And so we had some research done and we worked with our marketing team at Davis and we came up with the name Linc. And Linc was representative of the community of Lincolnsville, which was the first African American community set in place um, after the Civil War. And we thought about how could we tie that into the community and make it a destination that we could build upon. So the Linc District stands for Lincolnsville, and the INC stands for Incorporated, which means bringing business to the district to bring it back up to where we want it to be. So what we are doing right now, the district has been made official. In addition, we're looking at the grant that we received from the federal government to change the streetscape. We're already in the planning phases of looking at how we will change the streetscape. In fact, last week we had a meeting with our consultants talking about different options to change the streetscape. What do I mean by that? Maybe taking out the median, maybe having diagonal parking, bringing the sidewalk out to make it more pedestrian friendly and where businesses and restaurants can have outside seating, creating a real walkable community where people can enjoy all of the things that you enjoy in a downtown. Also, we're looking at mixed use development in that corridor. We already have housing. We know we need more housing because housing brings more people downtown and put more people on the street. But when I say mixed use development, I'm talking about retail, maybe another primary care doctor's office, things that people need in that corridor, perhaps another grocery store coming online, putting together amenities that people enjoy. Our arts district is really flourishing down there. The Mural Arts District is going to be a focal point, and we're going to have an outside arts venue where people can come and perform and hear good music and have the opportunity to mingle with other residents. The other thing I want to mention about that district, very much an opportunity to bring new businesses. So we're looking at an entrepreneur marketplace where businesses can come and set up, whether they're food businesses or offer other services, and they will provide the support for those individuals that will live in the new district. So we're excited about the Linc. It's going to be fresh. It's going to be inviting. It's going to bring people back downtown. And that's what we want, because our downtown needs to be everybody's neighborhood, not just this group or that group. But when you come downtown, there should be a number of activities, whether it's dining, whether it's shopping, whether it's just going around admiring public art, that you should be able to take and participate in.
Yeah, because a lot of people just feel like downtown is synonymous with Old Town, and it's Old Town is the neighborhood, and downtown is what it is. You know, so
Correct.
so having that connectability just takes that all the way. You know, you have Portsmouth all the way down High Street.
Right.
Let me you call it the Linc now. Probably, I think people who watched the last council meeting at one time, Innovation District was attached to it as an official name. So it's been changed now, and it's just called the Linc, because I don't think a lot of people knew that the Linc was linked with Lincolnville. They just thought it was just a adjective that linking downtown to the rest of the city or midtown, but it
Hence,
does have a significance uh, to Lincolnville. Is what
no,
it's
no,
saying.
it really did, and that was deliberate. And you're right. When we first wrote out the vision for that district, we knew that innovation was going to be a part of it because, the studies that we had done, that was the word to come out with. But then I took a trip and I did some work with Harvard with my planning director, and we did a whole semester where our focal point was the innovation district. And so we did a presentation to a group of smart people at Harvard, and they were all planners. Most of them were architects. And so we had our chance to present, they said, this district is an amazing opportunity, but what does innovation mean? So when we talked about it, we said, well, yeah, you're right. We need to come up with a name that identifies the district with the community. And so when it was researched, the historical impact of that area was heavily, a part of what we decided to do. And so we came up with the name Linc because it was honoring the legacy of those businesses that were in that corridor, that were thriving and served the community well. And so that's how we got there. And now it is the Linc. It is no longer the innovation district. You may still see the remnants of innovation, but the whole idea, of course, is innovation. We want to bring new and exciting things to that particular area, as I described before. And as we do that, as we bring things online, there'll also be a history component that tells the story that will remind us of the sacrifices and the legacy of all of the citizens of the city of Portsmouth to make this community what it is today.
Yeah, and that's great news as well. And as we move on with our conversation, I want to ask you this. When you look at the whole Hampton Roads area, a lot of the cities have their niche. Say Virginia Beaches have the beaches, and Chesapeake, Suffolk can have the land or whatever they're known for. What do you think? What is Portsmouth's niche? Because I have an idea of what I think it is. Because uh, each city having their niche and it be identifiable is an advantage. When people come to Hampton Roads, they say, okay, I go to Portsmouth, I get this. I go these other cities, I'll get that. What is Portsmouth niche?
Well, I've thought about this a lot, and I've read about it. I've listened to you, Slim, and a lot of folks. Here's what Portsmouth is. We are a historic port, maritime, blue collar community. That's our niche, is really those people who have worked and toiled throughout our history to make our city what it is. We are a proud city. So if I could say anything from an attraction standpoint, we need to celebrate our history. No one else in Hampton Roads has the maritime history that Portsmouth has. And as we build out this whole new vision for our city, that's going to be a part of it. But our history is what ties us, is what binds us. And as we spread out, many of the families can connect to the maritime. Remember the shipyard? A lot of people earned a living in that shipyard. We have the oldest naval hospital in the United States. I mean, we're a Coast Guard base. We have a Coast Guard base, and we are a Coast Guard city. Military, maritime. That's our niche. And no one else in its totality has that. Like you said, Virginia Beach has the beach. We don't have a beach, but we got a beautiful river. Chesapeake is a rural place. Suffolk is a rural place. Farming, and they're still pretty rural. Norfolk, the mayor and I, Mayor Alexander, we go back and forth. He always reminds me that Norfolk is a little older than Portsmouth, but I told him, you know what? In the early days of Norfolk, the sewage was so bad that some of the business owners and folks that could afford to move to Portsmouth because Portsmouth had better sewage. Well, they maintain their sewage better than Norfolk did. That's
Yeah, I think you win on that one there. So, I just wanted to put one of the comments up from uh, put one up. Okay, you want me to turn my mic up? Okay, all right, Wesley. I hope that works for you. I'll turn it up a little bit more. and hope you get the sound you deserve to get. As long as you can hear the mayor, that's the main point. But anyway, Mayor, let's go to our waterfront. One of our most prized possessions for years, and it's been talked about for years. The jail has been there. They talk about moving the jail, and several administrations have been there, but the opportunity hasn't always been there. You know, we've come close to having something, but it was always something that was standing in the way. Maybe the deal wasn't the best, or uh, council felt like, they needed a little bit more. I'm trying to find a picture here. But anyway, where are we now? Because it looks like we're getting kind of close to doing something. Well, it's nobody in the jailhouse now, so we have no excuse for that. And looks like that's in the process of being demolished, if I'm not mistaken. So where are we
Yes.
with the waterfront, with the
So let me
plans
let
now?
me
We've seen a lot of plans come and shelve and be shelved. So where are we now? How close are we to realizing something's going to really happen on that waterfront?
well, Slim, a couple of things, and I'm going to tell you right now, I am absolutely excited about the future of our waterfront. As you know, the Crawford Bay project is already underway. We've done our second charrette with the community to getting community input. But here's something I want to share with you. We have a vision, and when I say we, I mean all of us, to create a downtown, a waterfront that is vibrant, that is attractive, and bringing visitors to see and show off how beautiful our area is. First of all, the Crawford Bay project, where mile marker zero is, where the marina is, where the old Holiday Inn used to be. I don't know if people remember, but that area has been vacant since 2008, almost 20 years of no tax revenue, no development. So we have already implemented the process. We're meeting with stakeholders in the community. Also, we will continue to meet with our consultant. But here's the good news. By the end of the third quarter, we will actually be going out with a request for proposal to developers to give us plans based on what we desire to have there to build a facility that will have mixed use development, apartments, condominiums, in addition to retail and green space that will be inviting and welcoming to the city of Portsmouth. This potentially will be a $300 million investment, which will bring people and tax revenue at that site back. Now, the second thing, you had mentioned the jail complex. We have absolutely totally closed the jail complex. The demolition for that site will begin in March, late March, early April. It will take about 6 to 8 months to totally get the building down and level off the land. The good news is we've already started the abatement with the facility. So here's what people should get excited about. Remember, you said it's been there 30 years. And all those years, all I heard was, when are we going to get the jail off of the water and put something there that's going to bring real revenue to our city? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that is going to happen. The development schedule on that, again, we will bring back to the community with ideas, but we plan to make that a mixed use development as well to attract people that want to live downtown, who want to shop downtown, who want to eat downtown, and have a green space there too, where the community can enjoy the waterfront.
So we finally getting there. This is not going to be something that might be shelved again. I feel, in my experience over the years, I've seen them come, and I could feel it coming. Oh, this is not going to go because we have a new council now that's going in a different direction, which is their right to do. But it looks like everybody's on board. Uh, Along with the city manager and other department heads, to move forward with this. And I
Hey,
think the
Slim,
citizens being involved, that's a plus as well.
can I add something? The important component too is we hired a consulting firm um, to help us to engage with the citizens because we understand that this is the people's community and we've got to have people involved and engaged in this process. That's why I was encouraged. I don't know if you were able to go to the event at the Renaissance and the one that we did at Bidawee just last week. We had over 100 citizens show up at each of those to really provide input and direction and what they would like on the waterfront. The other thing I wanted to mention, which is something that's going to happen in the next month or so, you remember the roundabout there where the pavilion is?
Yes.
So we are building a working fountain right there at the roundabout. And here's the other news. I'll send you a picture of it. Remember the statue that was the Willard Hall, the statue of the dancers?
Yes. Yes.
That statue will be supplanted in the middle of that water fountain.
Yeah, that's good news because that was a great piece of art, and I always wondered what happened to that. And over the years, have been a lot of proposals for that area, and none of them really panned out for various reasons. But hopefully, this is something that's going to happen, and it's exciting to know. And when people see it, the people that have been around for a long time, they're going to remember. Oh, that's that used to sit out in front of Willard Hall, you know, sort of celebrating the arts. Yeah, that's great news. Thanks
No,
for
it
that.
is. And if you walk down there today, you can actually see the work in progress. We're about three-quarters of the way. So I'm excited. I want you to be our guest when we have the ribbon cutting and unveiling of the fountain. It will be a centerpiece that will define our downtown and will create a location. When people come to visit, they will come to visit that fountain. We haven't named it what it will be exactly, but perhaps we can get you to help us with the audience to come up with an appropriate name for the fountain.
Sure, sure. So before we move on to something else, in the end, we're going to talk about Black History Month and its significance here in the city of Portsmouth. But I want to talk about now. Let me show the picture. This is something that a lot of people are familiar with. Sunset Thursdays. Most of the people here in the city of Portsmouth know about it, and some people in other cities know about it. And it's been going on for years now. I think it's a gym in the city of Portsmouth. Every Thursday night, you get it's packed out there, and just people that just want to interact with each other and listen to some good music here in the city of Portsmouth. And we have people coming from other cities. How important do you think that is for us? And do you think it gets the recognition throughout the Hampton Roads area that it should?
Well, first of all, it's critically important because I've got to give a real thumbs up to our Parks and Rec department who do an amazing job of managing that program every Thursday. Listen, it's all about people. And what Sunset Thursday does, it brings people downtown to enjoy good music, good fellowship, good food, and most importantly, it helps to create the image that we are working so hard to create. Portsmouth is a community, a vibrant, alive community, and they want to celebrate. And so I see every Thursday as a celebration of our community, a chance for our citizens to come down, kick their feet back, and really enjoy good music, good food, and good fellowship. Now, whether or not the region really acknowledges it, I'm not so sure because I know a lot of folks that I talk to when I'm down there, they're from different cities. And they say, man, we just love this Sunset Thursday. They don't do that in our community. So we've created a market, I think, regionally, particularly from our cities like Norfolk, Suffolk, and Chesapeake. People come from there and they look forward to Sunset Thursday. That's what I hear when I'm out in the community.
Yes, it's free of charge, a good time for all, and some people go there and let their hair down and just relax and all the issues that might come during the week, they can go there and just fellowship and feel good and enjoy some great music. We have some great
And,
music
and and
playing.
Slim, the other thing, we have had very few incidents that have been negative in the Sunset Thursday. It's because when people really want to come and have an experience and just relax, people just want to have a good time. And so that's what I see Sunset Thursday as. Man, I get to see people I hadn't seen in a while. I get to see you down there relaxing, with your wonderful wife, and so it makes me feel good, man, that people come down and enjoy it. And they say it to me. They say, "Man, this is what we should be doing." So we're proud of that.
Yeah, I like the fact the other cities. And one other thing before we get to the Black History Pod during Black History Month, uh, people look at the waterfront and they look at from the jail down, and also City Hall is sitting on a valuable piece of land. There have been some ideas or an unsolicited bid that some people had said, "Wow, you get these unsolicited bids. Is that something that should be done?" But in reality, sometimes those unsolicited bids is a good thing for the city because a company is actually looking at the city and say, "Oh, I want to invest there." You know, that looks like a good deal, and that starts the whole ball rolling because not necessarily because they made an unsolicited bid that they're going to be picked for the job, but it gets the ball rolling. Sort of expound on that.
So let me just deal with that real quick. So last week at our work session, we had a meeting on the PPA, which is the Public Private Education and Infrastructure Act of 2002. So the Virginia General Assembly created this PPEA process. The primary reason was because they knew that private entities could assist localities and schools and other organizations in building facilities. Why? Because a lot of municipalities don't have the money up front to get those things done. So when we're going out and we're looking at these things as a part of the PPEA that I just explained, a company can submit an unsolicited proposal. How they submit that proposal is because that company determines there's a need for their services, and so they come to the locality and present a proposal based on that need. How we got one because of some of these companies have been hearing us talk about a new city hall that was needed. As you know, we have issues at our city hall. It's over 40 years old. So they submit an unsolicited proposal. As a part of that proposal, you have to open it up to competitive bids. That's the language, that's the guidance. So it's not just the unsolicited proposal, you put it out there for other bids. The locality has to do that, and they cannot have that bid on the street for less than 45 days. So in that 45 day, once you put the bid out, the unsolicited proposal, and then other companies can offer a competitive bid. If no one offers a competitive bid after that 45-day time frame, then that unsolicited proposal is the proposal that is accepted. Now, that doesn't bind the city. That doesn't start anything in terms of dollars being exchanged. It's just starting the process. What you saw last week at our work session was an informational session of how that process would flow. Ultimately, the locality, the city has the final say. If we don't like what it is and the citizens don't like what it is, it doesn't happen. There's a long process that gets you to the point in which the agreement is accepted and the contracts are signed. And we will go through that process because it is required by state guidelines.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for the explanation. And as City Manager Carter said, that if they didn't get that down the road, the city was proposing that anyway. Would have proposed that anyway. So, but
100%. But the thing is, like, people don't understand, in the city of Portsmouth, we're limited in our dollars. We're still trying to build a middle school that we were supposed to build 10 or 15 years ago.
right.
Why? Because we were limited in the dollars. And so this allows us to have another option to build those facilities that we need to have. We've got to have a new city hall. And to your point, we must move the city hall off of that valuable waterfront property so that we can put something there that actually pays tax revenue.
Yes, and that's been talked about for years. And I'd much rather the city build the schools and have those public-private partnerships as far as the waterfront and the city hall building. But thanks for explaining that as well. Okay, now I want to go to, we talked about Black History. This is Black History Month, and it's significant here all over the country. But here in Portsmouth, we have some rich history of Black people here in the city of Portsmouth. And I think we're working towards making sure a lot of the people are recognized that haven't been recognized before, all the way back from the Revolutionary War. That's how far we go back. We're actually older than the country, the city of Portsmouth is.
It is.
So
It is.
they have the African American Historical Society, who plays a big part in sharing that history. And real quick, I want to share a real short video of Miss Claudette White talking about what they're trying to do, and then we'll talk further about other things that's going on in the city concerning Black History. That's not it. Hold on.
Wanted to know places where they could stay, where they could go and eat, where they could get gas, things that were essential to being able to traveling across the country because we were not accepted everywhere. We
Right,
were not
right.
accepted everywhere at all. So that's our most recent. I mean, when I say recent, I'm talking about our last meeting, which was 2 weeks ago with this group, and we are partnering with them to have historical markers that indicate they were a Green Book location or that a Green Book location once resided at on that land, because some of them are no longer there. There were quite a few hotels and inns that are no longer there, but I believe that, if I'm not mistaken, last week the Addicts Theater got their Green Book location on MLK Day. And our
Mm.
president was the speaker for that day. Our president is Charles Johnson Jr., and he did the speech for that. So we're trying to get more of them throughout Portsmouth and throughout Hampton Roads, and just partnering with that organization is a really big deal, that people can not just see if they have a historic marker, but a Green Book historic marker.
Okay, I hope, could you hear that, Shannon? I'm sorry, took you off. Could you hear that?
I could, and
Okay.
I'm very familiar with that project, as I have talked with Miss White and Mr. Johnson extensively.
So, what was amazing to me, and a lot of people that don't know about the Green Book, is how significant that Green Book was to people who had the Green Book in the city of Portsmouth. There were several places that, and the Green Book helped Black people travel throughout the country, especially in the South, and be able to know where they could safely lodge. You know, a lot of places were whites only or colored only. And so that green book helped identify the places where, when you're traveling, where you could stop and
Yeah.
you will be welcome. And there were several places. And you mentioned early in the show about the black business district. So I'm sure a lot of those places. I remember Kelly's Cab had a hotel. I mean a motel as well. So I'm sure that was listed in the Green Book. So uh, that's a great historical fact, and I'm sure a lot of people of a certain age have no idea what the Green Book was.
No. No, if I may, one of the things that I've learned, and I know in the city of Portsmouth, we don't just celebrate Black History during Black History Month. We have a program that we've committed to in Portsmouth. It's called Black History Now, and what that tells us is that Black history is our history. It is American history, and it should be celebrated and understood and studied every single day of the year. So we're very intentional in that in the city of Portsmouth. We have a huge part of our city and our history here in Portsmouth. And I have sat down with Mr. Johnson and Miss White and Miss Breckenridge Haywood and many others, and we've talked about the vision of creating a central place where a lot of this information can live in a African American cultural museum or place where we can go. And as a part of that, I know with their last fundraiser of the African American Historical Society that was mentioned. Look, we've got to embrace the city. We must embrace our history in its totality. And I'm committed to making sure that that happens.
Yeah, and of course, Black history is not just for African Americans in the city of Portsmouth. It's for everybody. Like you mentioned, it's a part of it's American history. It's
Yes.
just a part of it. It should go hand in hand with it. So it's not just for us to learn. Of course, we need to know. Our young people need to know, but for everybody, the young, you know, all the kids in all our schools need to know the Black history as they
Right,
learn the
because
history
to
of our
your
city.
point, what a lot of folks don't know, as you stated earlier, we were here before 1776.
Right.
And the contributions that we made all of this that we enjoy today possible. And so we should never back down on telling that story. And I really don't care what's happening at the national level. I can't control what people do at the national level, but we can dang sure control what we do at the local level. And what we're going to do at the local level, every chance we get, is to tell the story, the whole story, and remind our citizens that there was a Portsmouth and there is a Portsmouth that predated what we are today. And African Americans, slaves, people of color were very instrumental in not only building, contributing, but making our city what it is today. You know, last council meeting, I had the chance to recognize Marlene Randall, who, as you know, was a vice mayor at one point, served on our council for 3 terms, was an educator. It took a lot of pride and just for me to share that with the audience. Many people may not have had the opportunity to know Marlene Randall and so many others. That was just one example and that I wanted to share, and we will continue to share with our community. We cannot forget those heroes and sheroes that helped make us what we are today.
Yes, indeed. And there were so many people that I can remember as a little guy growing up that were significant in our community, especially our African American communities, making sure that we had the right to vote, that the precincts were open to all and fair, and we had the opportunity to run for office. And it was a lot of people, unsung heroes, that over the years, and I think the African American Historical Society has a lot of that information, names of people that would never come up, but worked in your community, because a lot of times people that were visible and out front, they're the people that are recognized, but it was people working behind the scenes, making things happen. And we should make sure that we make that information available to all, and make sure we support that group and whatever the city does, because the colored library now is under the control of the city museums
That is
department.
correct.
So
And James, if I may, I want to say something. As
go ahead.
as many know, if they know you, they know that your father was a lawyer here in the city and very instrumental in a lot of those things you just mentioned. Look, I'm here because of the sacrifices that others made. Because as we know, I'm the third African American mayor in the city of Portsmouth in its history. But the other thing I want to emphasize is during the month of February, the city of Portsmouth invests in a lot of things for the community to come and enjoy and learn about as it relates to Black history. Please take a moment to share with your family. Come out and see the presentations. Learn about what your history is in this city. Bring your grandchildren, your children. The most disappointing thing for me is when I go to these events, I don't see families. I don't see children. You were at the last event, Slim, that we had at the Welcome Center where Dr. Stevenson came, a renowned history professor from the
It
city of
should have been
Portsmouth.
packed.
Is her accolades come off of the sheet. She is the head of the history department at University of California at Los Angeles, UCLA. How proud was it to see her come back home and present to us about our history and American history in general? But here's the most important thing I got from that visit. She came up to me and she said, Mayor, anything that you need me to do to help Portsmouth, I'm willing to do it. Don't worry about it. If you need me here to help Portsmouth, I'm here. How about that for Portsmouth pride and the recognition of one of our favorite daughters? That was amazing.
Indeed, and we have a lot of people like that that are going on to greatness and live in the city of Portsmouth and would be glad to come back and do whatever they can. But you're right. Next time she comes down, we need to make sure that that place is full or people really know that she's coming. I think a lot was going on that day, but still, it's a lot of people that could have benefited from that, especially our young people, because I learned some things that day that I didn't realize, of some of the people in Portsmouth and what they did and what they accomplished. So,
And Slim, I think, didn't you go to school with her sister? I think you
yes,
mentioned
yes, indeed. We were in the orchestra together. So,
that. There you go. That
we were
musical
orchestra.
influence.
Yeah, we were orchestra nerds there, but don't think you had to be a nerd to be in the orchestra. That's
No,
a
you
great
don't.
thing to do. And one thing about the events, some of the events that Portsmouth is doing, they're going beyond the month of February. A few of the events uh, celebrating Black history go beyond that. You have the Juneteenth, and then you have the Moja Festival. So all year round is recognition of uh, of different groups. Even I think last year we had the Filipino
Mhm.
recognition of
Yeah, yeah. We
Filipino
had the
communities
Filipino
there.
festival here in Portsmouth. Yes,
Right,
sir.
right. So I think it's important for us to be aware of all the different ethnic groups and their history and their culture. I think it's very important for us to know it and recognize it and be a part of it. All of it's good. Look forward to other things happening here.
Absolutely. Well, a big part of our goal is I said that we're a historic port maritime. I didn't add festival,
Yeah.
okay, city. So we're engaged now to bring more festivals, more opportunities where the city can engage and the community can come out and get to know your neighbors and celebrate what's good about our city. This year, we will have a 4-day festival during the time frame in June where we normally do the event with Norfolk. It will be a 4-day festival in the city of Portsmouth, coinciding with Juneteenth. We will be celebrating our process, our progress, and our future. And I encourage everybody to get involved. We can't do this without you, the citizens, that will help to make it happen.
Well, indeed, and that's true too. And I want to thank you for coming on this morning and sharing the information you did. Looking forward to you coming back periodically with updates. And I want to share with this with people who uh, need information about what's going on in the city of Portsmouth. You have the City Watch. You can sign up for uh, know what's going on with the schools and everything. So the information is there for you to have. Of course, you can watch the city council meetings. Uh, do you think we ever get to the city council meetings with the way technology is, where people are used to now staying home and watching watching everything online? You think we ever get to the point? I think during the pandemic, you tried to have a interaction with the people that were home, and it was kind of a touch and go thing because it was kind of new for our technology department, but it worked in some cases, and some cases were kind of hard. You think we ever get to that point where we'll be able to have people that are home that can't make it to the meetings to be able to interact with city council?
Well, I'm gonna be very transparent, and I know that's come up. Some citizens have brought that to council. We're still looking into it. It has to make sense for everyone. I'm not suggesting that we won't ever do it, but we're still looking into that.
It's probably something that probably will come whenever the a new city hall is built, because it's kind of hard to sort of incorporate all that technology in to something that might not be there after a
Well,
while. So it
that's a
probably
very
makes
valid
sense
point, and
to.
you got it, Slim. But the reality is, we will continue to listen to our citizens and do the things that are needed to make people a part of the process, and that's what's
Mhm.
important. We don't exist. The council exists because of the people, and at the end of the day, what you have to say matters. And if I could just take a moment, I want to thank you, man, for the work that you do in our community. In spite of all of the challenges and the things we have, you always present, show up, provide content. And without you and what you do in this community, many people wouldn't be informed. And I've got to acknowledge this. This month is Heart Month, and many people may not know, but this guy here providing this information to you is a transplant recipient, and every day, he has to work and put in the work to do the things he needs to do to keep himself up and running. But I can tell you that no one that I know in this city loves it, cares about it, and is willing to put in the work that Mr. Overton is willing to do. And we are grateful. And we need you to continue to do that and send the message, because without you, we're not who we can be. So thank you, man, for always putting your hand in the dirt. I've never heard you make any excuses. You served in spite of, and you are an awesome individual, and we are grateful to have you as a citizen of the city of Portsmouth.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. And I encourage a lot of other people to do that. Don't get around as much as I used to, but I use this medium to do what I have to do, and I get around as much as I can. And I still will hold y'all accountable, when it's necessary. But I encourage all citizens to make sure you hold elected officials accountable, and also let them know when you feel like they're doing a good job. It goes both ways. You have to also support them in their innovative ways, and try to understand the direction they're going in, or why they think like they think, or why they vote like they vote. If you want to know, just ask them. Respect them when they're with their family and doing private things, but when you see them out, the mayor is open, and like most of the council, all of the council people are open. Don't be afraid to approach them and say what you like and what you don't like. They are people you elected. They actually work for you. So make sure that you get involved, and make sure you let your feelings be known. But they don't always have to be negative. You can also let them know that they're doing a good job. Make sure you do that as well. Mayor, I thank you again, and I'll give you about 6 minutes, and before we wrap it up here, I'll give you the last words if you have any. I'm sure you do.
Well, listen, at the end of the day, we want to create a neighborhood that is welcoming to all in all of our neighborhoods. We want to uplift our citizens and let them know that we're here to work and improve the quality of life for everyone. You know, Portsmouth is a city that is special, and I've heard it my whole time here for 35 years. We have so much potential, and now we're actually acting on that potential. Portsmouth is making progress. In the next 3 to 5 years, we will have done some things that were only dreamed about in the past. But none of that will take place if we're not moving and rowing in the same direction. And we need to hear from you, the citizens. We don't have all the answers, but together, if we continue to work together and move this city forward, our future is extremely bright. We've got to work with our families and our young people and get them up. We've got to help our education system and our environment to make sure that we're producing quality students, creating good jobs, and an opportunity to live out the life that you dreamed of. I'm excited because I know from where I sit that we are moving in the right direction. So Portsmouth, let's keep going. Help me to make our city the best city that we can possibly be. Thank you for listening to me today. Thank you, Slim, and have a great day.
All right, thank you. And thank you, everybody, for listening to this inaugural show called City Talk with Slim. And you probably can't see my hat that well because it's the lighting, but it says Portsmouth, Virginia, Acadia Heights, which is the neighborhood I grew up in, and Virginia is for lovers. So when you see me out there in the street, you can't really see it, but my Portsmouth hat on there. I'm representing there. I'm representing.
100%, sir.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Take care. And we'll see you next time on City Talk with Slim. We appreciate you.
See you, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Okay.